And welcome back to the second champion select of the day. As you can see, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty, so we already have 2 picks on each side in 3 bands. So let's look into this, dive into this, and then we can move on with champion select.
Right.
A lot to take in. Let's go.
So one of the big features from the first game was 3 red side AD carry bans. Obviously, that's not happened. We've had Jinx left available, said that the center was going to be important, so they've come in the first round from both teams. Junglers being, well, actually, no, that's actually technically not locked in from the Viego. It's still technically on the picking thing, but we're in this weird limbo of time. So yeah, Senna, Volibear, first rotation from Bifrost gives you a lot of ability to play around early. Post level 6, tower dives actually become really threatening across the map too.
100%. I think Senna Volibear as a combination coming into this Jinx is already a really good start, right? Volibear into Jinx, her trap's absolutely useless, right? When she's being dove onto, she's gonna have a really hard time playing the game. And if they find the right Senna pairing, this is really important, if they find the right Senna pairing, they can make Jinx's life hell, not only just in the early game, but across the entire game as well.
So this is the information we have right now. Let's move on with the champion select to see if Haru is going to pick yet again that Viego, or if he's going for something different. This is something that has been appearing lately, the Nidalee. Actually, people are picking more Nidalee, so let's see if Riddle will find his happy place. She has been buffed in the future, but yeah, let's not look into that.
Not today.
This could be the Xin Zhao, the Jinx again.
And I'm kind of interested in the Xin Zhao pick here because Xin Zhao is not awesome into Volibear because Xin Zhao doesn't stop what Volibear wants to do, and also Volibear gets to dive in and do all of his damage within your ultimate as well. So you're kind of nullified a little bit in terms of strength in the early game and later into the game. It's not like you have these really strong advantages later into the game where you can have that over some other junglers. So I'm a bit interested in opting into that matchup, but it's still, maybe they just thought, look, we need some early game options. This is what we got on the table right now.
This is something like Haru usually says, like, I don't care what the enemy jungler picks. I have the pressure, I have the macro, I know how to apply the pressure in the wound. Let's take this early game.
So this is actually a really traditional X7 draft. Hyper carry plus Lulu plus early game AD carry jungle, essentially. So I think they've gone for a rotation they feel safe with, a rotation they feel comfortable with. On the flip side, Bifrost have actually brought the Seraphine back out again. We saw this in the first series.
Yes, we did.
But this could also be a Seraphine bot lane, right? I would expect, actually, that in this situation, you've got the Senna, use the Seraphine as a flex, get then a pick for Shikari or another flex in there to really make it difficult for blue side to find counter picks. And you do have the ability to contest in team fight with the Seraphine, but it's not necessarily easy.
So the things which I like about the Seraphine are that it can help with a diving comp where you have both ultimates of the Senna and the Seraphine flying through the team fight if you want to play aggressively. That's something that we saw around Spring 21 where we saw a lot of Hecarim with the Seraphine. That was when Seraphine was more viable as a mid laner. That was before a lot of her wave clear was nerfed. That was a big reason why she's been removed from this point. And one of the big things we saw from the last matchup in the best of 5 when this was picked was, and why the Seraphine didn't work was Seraphine got pushed in early, but I think it was by a Vex, who then roamed down early, slaughtered bot side. Couldn't do anything about it. Seraphine wasn't there and able to do anything. So if they're going to go put this back into the mid lane, they need to be very sure about the matchup they want there. And if you're picking, if you want to pick something which removes that flexibility, then it leaves it in a bit of danger.
Yeah, this fits, right? Because now they've got the Akali. Another flexes, potentially come in. There is no counter pick here that X7 can find that's going to be extremely useful into any specific champion, right? That's what Bifrost are trying to do here. They're trying to protect all of their laners by flexing things as aggressively as possible. The flip side to that is how cohesive is your composition, because Senna plus a lot of dive into Jinx, Xin Zhao, potentially Vex that's been locked in now, and Lulu. I think X7 have a lot of ways to deal with what Bifrost are trying to do here.
So obviously we were mentioning how the Seraphine got outroamed by the Vex in the first best of 5. Well, that's been locked in again. So if you want to put that Seraphine mid, you know what's on the table in terms of actual recent game footage where it really got slapped for you. So the question is now, do you feel forced to put that into the bot side? Is this going to be the Senna Seraphine bot side against the Jinx Lulu, which arguably outscales you, actually, in a lot of team fight situations? Where is your actual big value coming out of this draft? What value have you actually gotten out of this flex? It feels to me that you're still in a little bit of limbo.
And actually, X7 with the Renekton as well, and the Vex. Akali doesn't have a solo lane she really wants to go into. I think I'd put her into the Vex if I had to bite the bullet, let's say, and put her somewhere. But then what counter pick am I getting into the Renekton that's actually going to extract value? It's very, very difficult now. Okay, here's
That's nice. I like that. So the thing with that now is that whenever you get the heals and shields onto Lucian, you get a whole lot of your passives on the current patch. The scaling on his passive extra damage has gone up too. So if you get those buffs, you get a whole lot of damage to go with it. If you have this double kind of pseudo enchanter bot lane buffing up the Lucian, you start running forward with that. Someone gets caught out from X7, they pop.
My concern, though, Bifrost have drafted very much focused on we're playing against X7, not focused on Bifrost strengths. None of this here, Shikari on Akali, Fury on a lane dominant champion, though his Lucian is good, is not how Bifrost have been playing, right? And this is very much a tonal shift from what Bifrost have been trying to do in the past to maybe try and counteract X7, and that could be a big concern for them if they're not able to execute.
I have to ask you guys again. Numbers.
Well, depends on whether they're going to go make some interesting jungle decisions again. I like what Bifrost have got in terms of an individual 5-man unit. I think it's new. I think it's intriguing. I don't know if it's going to be that effective. I think X7 got the edge in draft this time.
You got to tell me.
I'm going to give it over to X7. And let's call it, in terms of draft, 60-40 X7. But it's
X7
a lot of
this time. What about you, Tarek?
X7 all the way.
Okay, let's see if they got this one correct.
That from the JDX
Bifrost are switching their gameplay style to face off versus X7. Is this the miracle, or is this going to be another one for X7? Without further ado, I'll toss it to the tree cast. It is once again Initialized Trouble in Goldberg.
Photosynthesizing the tree cast is here. Indeed, we are around.
A tree?
I am now, apparently. But never mind that. We've got ourselves a little.
You guys are so rude.
Yes, I am, but that's kind of part of the fun of working with me, I guess. Underline fun and
Look,
put it in
you guys
quotation
actually
marks.
make me look tall. Nice. That's a story on the
That's
screen.
fine. That's true. Well done, guys. Thank you.
Sure, those are your heels before you
I
start.
don't have heels on right now.
That's very reasonable. You would be here for a long time in those heels. But to bring it back a little bit, after that game 1 slaughter from X7, they are 2 games closer, or 1 game closer rather, to getting themselves to that group stage of EU Masters, becoming the NLC champions here in spring. I need to see Bifrost recover here, or things are going to start getting dicey. Trouble, your thoughts on the X7 draft first, though?
Yeah, I just find it really interesting how Arsharam also mentioned how Bifrost want to play a different game. I feel like X7 brought a completely different game as well. They went for the 1-3-1 in the previous one. They went for the mid-jungle duo synergy. They went to play aggressive. Right now, you don't really get too much about a certain dominance in the early game. You know what they say? If you, on paper, are the better team at team fighting, you can very easily pick a scaling team that wants to team fight, and you just go late game and outplay your opponents. And right here, you've got all the tools to do that. You've got so much peeling and shielding around your Jinx, and you also have a Renekton that can just dive the backline. I think this is the perfect front to back for X7.
And we've kind of held him off from it for a little bit, but we will let Gulbor go wild on the Bifrost draft because it's a duo in the bot lane he's been wanting to talk about for a long time.
Listen, as soon as Senna came back into meta, I saw teams pairing it up with Tam Kencham, and I was like, what are you doing? He doesn't gobble up anymore pre-6. He doesn't really offer that safe facilitation that we quite often talk about. But now with Sarah Queen down towards that bot side instead, you can go with a fasting Senna.
Sarah Queen?
Sarah Queen. You know what we're on about here. You know what we like on the cast. She is absurd when she finally starts getting that Tear of the Goddess. Remember that Seraph's Embrace, it doesn't give extra AP now. It actually gives ability haste instead, which is so good with Seraphine's kit. Another thing is that you go for the Liandry's Torment instead. That burn you're going to be getting, that extra CDR as well. You're going to be spamming healing, you're going to be spamming roots, and you're going to be having such a great kite back composition. Usually with this bot lane, you kind of go like, okay, let's lose lane and then let's win the game afterwards. And that's kind of what you want to do from Bifrost. You want to have an extended team fight composition. Problem with that is you have a lot of squishies on your team. You don't actually have too many tanks that can stay in an extended fight.
About the squishies on your team,
Guys, lose lane, win game.
Okay, so
that's the comps.
I love the explanation about the bot lane, and I'm going to move further up on the map for Bifrost because I felt like C-Boy and Fury really, really struggled to follow Tempt and Haru's tempo on the map. They fell short, and because these two fell short, the entire map fell apart for Bifrost. Right now, yes, I am very saddened that she oh my C-Boy just do
All right, Noodle. You mentioned him, and he pulls off something like this. C-Boy's last game was not fantastic.
This
he
is not
struggled a little bit in the previous series, but he's flashed to try and get it, and it's chomps down. My analysts are literally head in hands right now. You cannot see it, but they are unhappy.
That's my boy.
Fix this one up.
That's my boy right there.
Fix this one up.
Look, okay, I'll take it briefly.
Okay.
Let my color casters.
The inspiration. We have to give credit. We have to give credit to Noodle. He must have been the inspiration. Noodle was the one who flashed behind Baron
That's
for
fair.
invade blue.
But the problem was your bot lane this time around had a slow push into Nato and Kasing. It wasn't like Nato and Kasing was going to be forced to step up.
We don't talk about those.
Okay, fair enough. If we ignore all
He's
the
back.
factors that made that a bad play, it was a pretty good play.
So the thing is, why I'm mind blown here is the fact that Volibear's Q flash is so impactful because once you start charging the Q, your opponent doesn't know if you're gonna flash. And if you do, you can insta-stun someone in place, and then you
like that.
CC and kill.
Ooh, Nata is going to get rooted in place, but does have a shield, can start turning this one around, holds on to things like the cleanse.
And just real quickly, that is also due to the center buffs where her Q now slows, which allows you to root and stun on Seraphine. Once again,
oh, the shield! And the heal will come out. Nata stays just about alive, gets away from the beat drop. C-Boys around, Flash and Haru not quite ready for the audacious charge. And both junglers can't quite make their flashes work.
We need to unbind flashes from both the junglers at this point. We need to unbind
I think that was a lot closer than C-Boys was in some ways, as Fury takes a bit of a nasty trade.
Was a face check on
It
the
was
wall.
very close to an audacious charge range. Look, okay, I understand you're mad. Go ball quickly.
Yes, but looking at the map state as well, let's try and like pull our mind back into the game. C-Boy is actually really far behind the tempo because he stayed so far down towards that bot side. He's only now started clearing his blue side. He haven't been back on a reset yet. Haru, on the other hand, can go for a reset just now. He's level 4 to C-Boy's level 3. Yes, C-Boy is supposed to be behind in the matchup as a volley bear, but waiting for that rubber band XP, waiting for these next skirmishes. If C-Boy stays out of the map too long, he's going to be behind in the item department, and that means that when you're fighting with Haru, you're most likely going to lose.
I just feel like this is just a miscommunication in the early game plan for Bifrost. You're running Shikara on that Akali top. You want to fight the Renekton pre-level 6 before he's very beefy with his ultimate. You're also running the Ignite, which means you have even more tools to pressure and kill in the early game. You've got the flash onto C-Boy, who can gank very early on and puts down a lot of damage. Path towards your top side of the map. Try to punish, get Shikari ahead. We've seen what Shikari can do with the likes of Gwen, with the likes of Akali, when he does get far ahead. And I felt like the problem for Bifrost in the previous game was that they just did not get a single lane rolling. And even though I agree with Kubok and I can understand how the Senna Seraphine wanted to go late game, man, you need to something rolling for you in the early.
I guess for the side of Bifrost, historically, it has been the bot lane. Even in the last game, they were trying to make dives work on the bot side. Unfortunately, none of them ever really felt like they came for free. They were always traded back pretty negatively, honestly, as Nata will find himself rooted again into another beat drop. But of course, there's still the shield there from Kasing to make sure that one's a bit more even. And at least this time around, no one has died yet. The gold lead's still relatively even, so if Bifrost are looking to play this a little bit more stably, then that's probably good news for them. It's not a whitewash yet.
But I'm also looking to finally see Fury show up, really, because in the Ahri in the first game, we didn't really see too much of him. In this game with the Lucian into Vex, it felt like a matchup where you wanted to get ahead once again. We haven't really done that, but I'm just going to drop that point. Both junglers are down towards the bot side. We may see some shenanigans again.
Pretty much levels, pretty much even here. It's Duel with a slight edge in the XP right now, but I don't think that makes a huge amount of difference, and it does mean Bifrost will ward themselves away from this one. I think Haru rightly in position here to prevent any easy options for a dive, and we are left ourselves with a relatively stable early game. My question to both of my color casters, and we'll start with Trouble. Who actually does this favor, or is it kind of still in the balance right now?
Okay, so I feel like both of these teams have a pretty good team fight. One against the front to back. I'm going to give it to X7. X7 wanted to go for this Dragon. Level 5 on C-Boy. Look at that. Haru is level 6. Ooh. They have to back out, or they will lose again in the same fashion that they did before. Thank you so much. Oh my. Nothing.
Think about it. Here we go. That'll be the attempt on the Vex Press, looking to head forward with that Shadow Surge. Culling comes through the 1 to 10 seconds, very, very low, has to flash out. Haru will tank up the rest and throw down the Crescent Guard. Nobody dies, but that cost a fair amount of summoners.
I think X7 are pushing their boundaries just a little bit. I think you get out, you take the Dragon, say thank you for the leash, and you run out. You start trying to push the lanes even harder. At this point, Nata is way, way too low, but they have Haru around in case he gets baited.
Oh, there's the heal bait, but now the Polymorph is out as well, and Duel is in trouble. Doesn't have Flash. Will now try to get their way out of danger, but a wind becomes lightning, and Seraphine is struck down.
It's just like Trouble said, it's the bait coming through from X7, and they're getting the most out of this matchup. Lane was started getting a little bit oppressive. This time around, though, they swap it up. They get the kill, they get the crash, and they get a favorable reset. Unless Odie can stop them here.
We'll go to Piercing Darkness, but it only stops
one
Kasing.
member you didn't care about stopping.
Again, if you look here, Nata was very illegally still attacking the Dragon, and they almost lost that on the Smite fight. But then again, X7, look at that. Kasing has no mana to keep on shielding and peeling and using that to the ADC's advantage, and they're diving in. Yes, Haru has the ultimate, but like chasing that far in, you can go back to your lanes, you can try to push in. Here, Nata gets caught, but very cleverly, Haru stays around because he is that freaking clever. Duel gets baited thinking they can actually kill Nata there. and they capitalize on the kill.
And to go back on your question, Sam, about who actually, I mean, as Chubb was mentioning, both teams want to do the same, they want to scale up, but if Bifrost doesn't get ahead of the curve, I just feel like their composition becomes a little bit easier to front to back, just because, I mean, Bifrost with Senna and with Seraphine, yes, they love the team fights, they love the extended traits, but they don't have a tank to facilitate with that extra extension. Right, they're so squishy.
Lordy lord.
And therefore, for Bifrost, I feel like you need to be ahead of the curve.
That's chunking out the jungler before the Herald gets to be started. X7 will now get to start this one up. Seaboy will use the Raptor to try and heal up a bit, but I kind of agree with what you're saying there, Goldborg. Got to be aware of what happens if this slight edge to X7 starts going even further. Trouble?
I'm going back to our initial question marks. I'm going to hold that because Kasing is
he's
going
dead.
to... Okay, I'm not going to hold that. I'm going to continue. I'm going to go back to our initial question marks. Can Seaboy keep up with Haru? Can Fury match Tempt? Can the duo from Bifrost keep up in general with the Korean duo on the side of X7? So far for me, it has been a no. Fury counterpicked into the Vex. He picked the Lucian to play into the Vex, to be aggressive, to be able to dash forward, and so far Tempt has shut him down in lane. Now Nata is in trouble as well, but thankfully for him only Odi is there. And my question is, what have you got to show for yourself if you're Bifrost? Yes, you play the front to back, very well said by Gulbok, but I feel like it's Jinx Zhao, man, with a Lulu. It's one of the most S-tier front-to-back combos you can have in the game. And we've seen the teamfights that X7 put up in the late game.
And despite the nerfs as well coming through, I mean, it's 5 to 4 seconds for Harrow's ultimate. Those 4 seconds are still going to matter a lot when you're playing into the range of Seraphine, Senna, and Lucian. Majority of their damage won't actually deal damage to Haru. And as you said, Kasing and Nata being able to kite back, yes, Fishbones was nerfed a little bit. That's not going to change anything in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, with 3 items, it's fine.
And the excitement finally strikes again. I have to reiterate, I feel like for Bifrost, it is a little bit about getting ahead of the curve to make matters easier for them. It's not to say that they can't win it, because a good ultimate from Jewel can be crucial, but it's going to be difficult.
Definitely can be. Of course, you've got Dawning Shadow and, of course, Shikari's range as well, but never mind that, because Haru gets in. It's a triple encore, though. Dawning Shadow's there, but the knock-up from the Wild Growth means Seraphine has got nowhere to go but the grave.
And honestly, in the previous game, we saw the Haru Tempt train choo-choo going all the way to victory. Right now, they've swapped the chords completely. They're playing towards the bot side of the map. They're getting that Jinx Lulu, and they're making sure they shut down Odi and Duel, playing that ever-scaling bot lane before they even get to the stage where they look scary.
Yeah, and you know, you were talking about the junglers real quick beforehand as well, and yes, Seaboy, he has been struggling, especially when you compare him to Haru. But let me make a statement right here. Haru might not even, like, he's the best jungler we have in the league, but that's not even just going to cut it. He might just be the best jungler in the entirety of the ERLs moving into European Masters. So I feel like a lot of junglers are going to be struggling when they are facing Haru.
Stand up to the king and be counted is what you're asking for, and this would be a great way to start. Tempt gets taken out. Second kill on the board for Fury. You wanted to get in rolling? That's the way to do it.
That's exactly what you wanted there. Fury needs to be ahead of the curve, needs to get some mythic item to play for. If you can keep mid lane pushed in, then you can suddenly drive the plays yourself, especially when Seaboy's ultimate is still up. Haru looking for it with Fury.
His charge hasn't used the Wind Becomes Lightning yet. There it is, but it will be dodged away from him. Fury has to flash out.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Haru is, from what we saw from game 1, really good with keeping timers. So next time Fury presses his E button, I'm pretty sure Haru will be around to try and punish that.
This game has already been so much better than the last one for Bifrost, and a lot of that is due that they finally have something to play for. The fact that Fury is stable in the mid lane, the fact that Odi and Duel are even into a Jinx, which is a carry for X7, is really pivotal. Now, Haru maybe getting caught in River.
Just gets slowed down by the Chilling Smite. We'll use the Crescent Guard to knock away Bifrost. Kasing and Nata coming over, and we got ourselves a bit of a duel. He went in, there's the Wild Growth, still trying to take this one. So much healing! And now Seaboy's in danger. Vex gets that one. Shadow Surge just land onto Odi. Will go in! And now Duel left for the Wolves. Nata gets that one, and X7 come alive as the Dragon spawns.
And Haru is just not scared of anything. The bot lane was pushing, and Kasing was able to buck him up instantly together with Nata. And you now see the power of Jinx Zhao with a Lulu. I think the trio down in the bot lane have been making wonders. And even though I do commend Seaboy for trying to take this fight, for taking out Haru right before the Dragon, it just didn't happen.
Let's be real, we all thought that Haru was inting there for a second. We all thought he was going to go down. All of a sudden, Lulu ultimate into the Gordringer. He's back, and the rest of X7 is set up for the perfect fight.
Listen, you see arrogance, he sees confidence, okay?
Just such a good bait. And Haru, yes, he's jumped. The Chilling Smite comes down, but the turnaround here, you can see the moment they decide they can play this.
Yeah, this is where he goes like, okay, I can totally go in here. I won't get blown up at all. And it looks so favorable. Look at Kising. What a support hero. Flashes forward, shielding ultimate, Gordringer, the rest of Bifrost completely scattered and split up. And the entire space that Temp creates for them makes sure that there's really no easy way for Bifrost to kite back. They all just left to run.
Okay, all the honors need to go to that Lulu on the bot lane. At the end of the game, he has to be the most honorable teammate.
100% KP alongside Nata, and honestly at this point as well, Bifrost blew every flash he had. God, Shikari wasn't even running it. Oh my days, the Super Mega Death Rocket nearly takes out Odie, and that was a lot of damage.
And so far, I mean, I'm looking at bot lane builds as well here, and Julie, I'm not seeing that Leandra's Tallman that I was looking for. So far, it might be Shirelia's or
Probably gonna be a
Moonstone as well. Yeah, but Moonstone as well. Once again, if you don't have a tank, if you don't have that extended team fight, the value drops on an item like that. And with the squishies that you have on your roster, as Moonstone has just been built, it may be, you may not be getting more value that you actually could have gotten with a different item.
You might have a Lucian, you might have the Akali, you might have some heals. I just don't know if they can get enough damage down before they get blown up.
Remember that Haru has the timer on the flash, but back to the Akali and Lucian. This is why I was so upset that Fury did not get to play Akali again. Torok mentioned it as well. Both the lanes suck for Akali, but if I would put it somewhere, I'd put it against the Vex. I'd have it in the mid lane. Having the Akali to play these fights around together with the Volibear could be very pivotal. We also know Fury is crazy good onto the Akali as well, so he can make it pop off. But now, like you mentioned, having the two squishy members, the Lucian and the Akali, your healing is only going to do that much when they get popped by two auto-attacks from Jinx.
I completely agree, and now X7, and one thing we've complimented them a lot for today
Shikari is going to be
their rotations around objectives.
M-tier as well. This will be a 2v2. The Shadow Surge goes wild and compliments to the Chef, but this time it won't quite play off.
And now back to the map players. Well, you can see it rotated that bot lane into the mid lane instead. Utilized multiple members on the top side to make sure that when Rift Herald spawns at it, as it just have done, they're just in full control. Okay, TP, Temp, let's see it. Into Fury.
He's got a cleanse.
1 versus 2.
He's got no flash. They know where he is because of where the wards are in the bushes. Can they get close enough to interrupt him? Mistral Bolt will prevent a recall. Fury in this 1v2 has got to play this one out best he can, but a knock-up from the 3. Talon Strike secures a killing spree for Haru. Top side, what is going on here? Jaeger trying to get to the backside, gets a hold of Odie, and now Seaboy, unstoppable, trying to run away from this Herald. It was supposed to be a cross map. It'll just be a cross map death. Nata's final auto follows the flash Shikari into the Twilight Shroud, but the only Twilight you'll be seeing is the grey screen Shikari. No flash, no hope. He's got a tower and a dream right now. Maybe, just maybe, he'll get out. The zap secures that one too.
The trio again, baby. Swap the Zins out this time with the Renekton, and you've got someone to babysit around Nata and Kasink and be their front line. This time is going to be Jaeger onto that Renekton, and they're absolutely running the map down. Bifrost had their chance in the early game. They didn't take it quick enough, and I feel like, again, everything is falling apart. Great flank from Jaeger. We didn't see this on our maps, actually taking out Odie instantly. There's all your damage gone because, like Gulbok mentioned, Seraphine is going for that Moonstone, and Seaboy, who's supposed to be your only tank in the team, melts to a one-item Jinx.
And it also goes back to the planning as well. X7, they were just on the top side earlier. They were the team planning out the vision. As Jaeger was making his way into the enemy jungle to go for that flank, there was no ward spotting him. They were going in blind for Bifrost, and it gives them less space to work with and so much surprise factor for X7 in those team fights. It's so difficult for Bifrost to navigate anything.
Jaeger might be the price right now. They're looking to find themselves a little bit of a change in title, going for the Monster Hunter, but this time won't quite land. They'll get the bounty though, all the while though. Herald's being taken towards the top side, mid lane's been shoved in, and X7 certainly playing out the map relatively aggressively. Can Shikari make something happen though?
I mean, it's just chaos all over the map, right?
Duel.
X7 are ahead of the play. Goodbye, Duel.
Now Shikari's in trouble. He's going to try and find his way out. Wait for the Shadow Surge! And the Rocket just goes wide, but a final auto secures it anyway. A double to Nata, and now it's 10-2, and this game was close until it really, really wasn't.
I don't know what's happening, but Nata, he's showing up. He was on weak side duty last game playing Ezreal. This time around, he's getting resources. He gets to be the star player, and look how comfortable he is in this position. Just running them down after getting the first turret.
And we spent 5 minutes in the early game saying, both of my color casts here, Goldborg and Trouble, saying, look, Bifrost, if they don't get things rolling, if they don't get this Lucian to a terror point, if they don't get something out of the bottle on the top side, things could get very difficult for them, and look where they are now.
I just don't think it's a good draft. I'll be honest with you. I'll just put that out there. You really don't have much to play for. I feel like it's disjointed. Individually, I would pair them up with different stuff as well, which is just a big main factor here.
Yeah, the same, right? As is Senna, Seraphine, I'm expecting melees, a bunch of melees. I'm expecting the Yones, I'm expecting the Aurelias coming in. I'm expecting a lot of champions that will stay alive long enough to benefit from all the healing and shielding and peeling and distance that the Senna Seraphine combo can create. Again, I am very disappointed that this Akali is not in Fury's hands. I don't think Fury has looked particularly strong in the series so far. And man, I remember his performances last split in the NLC.
Oh, C-Boy,
no.
he's forced to flee away from the blast gun. That'll force an ultimate out, but the wind becomes lightning. And the rocket would have taken it, but Haru
He
secures
did flee away straight back to his fountain.
Yeah, indeed.
That's the fastest reset you can get in town.
You're welcome.
Yeah, like, Gulborg,
What's up?
there's silver linings, and then there's whatever that was.
Okay, give it to us, give it to
Listen,
us.
I can't even find silver linings at the moment.
No,
I'll be completely real with you. I feel like you struggle once again. It's a little bit of a flashback to game one, at least for the mid-game, to the point where you have a sinking ship. There's holes everywhere, and there's not enough buckets or extra planks in the ship to fill out the holes, and it's just bleeding all over the map.
The scariest thing is that X7 have showed two different playstyles, two different drafts, two different ways of playing the game. From game A to game B, they've showed two different styles in two different sides of the map. So how in the world do you start shutting them down?
That's the thing from X7 at the moment. They're just all showing up. It's every member. Like, yes, it's Haru in terms of course, but Nata and Kasing has had their individual performance in this one as well. Jaeger, once again in a 1v2, comfort spot for him, but this time around...
He can. That'll still be a turnaround down, and Jaeger's side laning. Maybe that's the way you get back into it. It's his first death, I feel like, this series where he's overextended in a side lane and not at least got one back, but finally he falls.
And let me reiterate, this is the team that came into the NLC for the first season. This is the team that took everyone else in the NLC by storm. This is the team that stomped everyone to the ground. This is the team that has a literal world champion in their team, and EU Masters have to be watching that. Other ERLs have to be watching that, because other ERLs are gonna have to face that.
And this, as a reminder, is a series to become the NLC champions in 2022. This is the match that decides who goes straight to groups to try and prove what we can do at EU Masters. And a Baron would be a great way for X7 to put their foot down on this even harder.
He does have flash, ultimate is up and available as well, but look at the vision once again. X7, they're just hitting it down.
Flash Cole, the Meek, and a killer instinct will make sure that one's a little bit difficult. Apologies, Ruthless Predator. There's no Kai'Sa in this game. Over the wall again goes Jaeger. Shikari will try and outplay C-Boy over the wall with the Sky Splitter, can try and get something. Could still maybe come in on solo HP. Flashes in too late, and they'll get the kill anyway. All the side attempt taken very low. Shikari will at least get one back. Now Haru's left in a bit of no man's land. Shikari and Duel and Odie, for that matter, could maybe be in trouble. Wind becomes lightning, will not connect, and now Haru needs to try and extricate himself. He's being hunted, being run down, but they will not continue to chase.
Surely not.
No, my days. Got close.
So, okay, that was a really nice try for Bifrost, especially because X7 were completely split apart. And now I'm gonna raise you a question. Imagine C-Boy pathed top lane early. Imagine this Akali had more items than she had right now, because Shikari played this fight so well around the scattered members of X7.
Yeah, but it's also getting so messy from this side of X7. You can see that they don't have the full vision control that we're so used to seeing from them. This gives a lot of space to them to actually go for that little front to back we're talking about. And they're scattered. 3 members were in the pit. 2 members were on the right side where Bifrost is able to take care of them. And despite the fight situation being so bad for X7, they're actually able to come still out with a Baron and still be on the tempo play afterwards.
And honestly, C-Boy survived for so long and managed to flash into the pit despite being on literally 10 hit points. I genuinely thought he was done for, and that would have made that a little less close, I suppose. But either way, it did come down to a little bit of a smite fight. Now Bifrost down against this Baron, down nearly 10,000 gold, and down in this series, nearly at that 0-2 point, unless they can hold on here in this game.
So if you think about it, Bifrost have a really nice composition to either dive forward or peel backwards, mainly peel backwards because you have a Senna Seraphine. But if you get hunted down...
C-Boy's gonna try and go back around, goes Tempt, gets in on that one, but doesn't really have a stopwatch and does go for a 1-for-1. It's support for mid lane. A polymorph though is Shikari trying to perfectly execute his way out. A final auto will be stopwatched. Haru is trying to run away in a 1 versus 3, but Nata gets a hold of the Shikari, and that will make it a 1-4-2. Haru lands the wind, becomes lightning, goes in onto Seaboy, who gets stunned by the thundering smash. Now trying to run back out from the way Odie is. Jaeger goes in, still gets the Ruthless Predator. The zap afterwards chunks him down to about 10% HP as well. And now this mid lane inhibitor turret is under siege, and I don't think Bifrost can do anything to stop it.
They can't, and it's just X7 supremacy once again. Haru being a 1 versus 3 monster in that fight, and still with 3 members of X7 in the mid lane. Haru is just setting up the bot side as well. And as we can see on the minimap, that is just Ocean Soul for the 2nd time in a row this series, waiting for X7 to be picked up.
Well, that's unfortunate, isn't it? One of the most broken souls in the game goes back to X7. And honestly, I was just about to say, when you're playing a peeling composition, right? Because only Akali can reach the backline. You need someone else right there to assist the Akali to try and get the kill. When you're playing a peel composition, that means your Jinx is just never threatened by anything. The second Akali dives in, she instantly gets polymorph. 3 auto-attacks by Nata is all it takes to take down the assassin. And on the other hand, you just keep peeling. I'm just missing the action from the front line from the set of Bifrost.
And they just keep going. Haru, so strong with the death dance, with so many items, he just can't be stopped. And when, like, it gets worse again when you realize that, like, Tempt is a Zhonya's away from not being finished, and like a 6-0-3 Jin Zhao's got so far ahead. A 6-0-6 Jinx, who, despite nerfs, is an utter terror at this point.
Okay, let's see if we can Jinx them. Will they die by the end of the game? Go, Gulbok.
No, they will not, because this is by far the free Jinx game.
Yeah, it is about a free Jinx game, but I just don't think they do die at this point. Haru gets to go in and do that. That's why they won't die. They land an encore onto 1. There is still a redemption that comes through and does even less damage. Jewel is dead as well. Seaboy goes in, but Nata's got a wild growth. Cannot be stopped. More autos come through, courtesy of a help. Picks a triple kill for Haru. The world champion stamps down his authority, and he's a step closer to finding his way to the group stage of European Masters. He's a step closer to finding himself the NLC champions here in spring 2022. 1 game away. Game match point right now.
NX7 is like, you want strong top lane? We got it. You want strong jungle? We got it. You want strong mid? We got it. You want strong bot? We got it. They see it, they like it, they want it, they got it. And that's what they're gonna do to that EU Masters trophy as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, okay, bold statement, but you know, I like backing it up. They are looking very, very good. And remember, last time these two teams played, it went to a best of 5. Remember, Bifrost was usually the kryptonite of X7, being the only team they couldn't beat twice in regular season, which was massive with the implication of how good X7 actually was. But this time around, everyone's stepping up, and honestly, with the Jinx in this composition, no one was stopping it. Nata could walk up and would never have to be afraid of someone actually punishing him.
Before playoffs, X7 was 0-5 against Bifrost all time. They are now in playoffs 5-2 here. Gonna go to a break, 2-0 to X7. They're 1 game away from finding their way to group stage in EU Masters and becoming the NLC champions here in spring.